What's up, everybody? This video is going to go over some half guard sweeps, and I think that when you hear sweeps, it doesn't really accurately describe, like, there are different types and styles of sweeps, right? And these are going to be, I would say, gi, no gi applicable. I'm going to do a separate video over some gi applicable ones, so check that out. But I divide them like this, and there are other outliers, but, you know, breakover sweeps and rollover sweeps, okay? And this video is going to be about breakover sweeps. Now I'm going to come up into dogfight on the first few. I'm just going to have like half guard with an underhook. I'll go over some of that. But sometimes what I'm doing, I really acquire while I'm coming up, right? And then sometimes all I need is dogfight with an underhook to get some, right? I'm going to go over, the first couple I'm going to go over are going to be a part of me coming up. And then after that, I'll just start showing things from dogfight, okay? Let's start from knee shield. Knee shield, when I was competing, was like one of my primary positions. It is one of my favorite positions on jiu-jitsu. I love getting the underhook and half guard from knee shield. There's 2 or 3 other ways I really like, but this is a really good way. I'll show you guys what one we did in class the other night is here. I anchor my elbow to my inner thigh, and if he tries to pull away from that, right, that's my underhook, okay? So that is a way we can get an underhook. And what I'm going to do here is when I do that, right, I'm going to fall down. I'm going to start coming up like this, right? Come back up. Look here. You can do this with lockdown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what Lucas Leche calls a coyote hook, and I'm just pulling his foot, okay? Full credit here. Like, I learned this first with this, boom, the lockdown and the foot pull. Look, I teach that, and I teach it both ways, but what I really like is this, okay? That's my favorite. This is, one time, used this sweep to win third at IBJJF Houston against a really game opponent, okay? But once I'm here, it's like I went from pulling his foot to passing it, okay? I'm grabbing his pinky toe. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up while having this. I'm going to use this hook to break him over here, okay? And look, I'm on his hips. We talked about this in an earlier video with this content, is that, you know, a lot of times you land here, and you have to incrementally work yourself up, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep his foot. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. And I'm in a good position on his hips, controlling side. The guard is passed, and I can start getting what version of side control I like to hold. Your inside control at that point, okay? Now, here's an idea, right? So just like you're up and you're trying to knee tap him. Right? I used to do the knee tap like this, okay? And that's what we call it, the knee tap, is I would have this inner thigh in here, okay? And Mark Bradford is who taught me this. He was like, hey, where I come from, people sprawl out of that way. And I was like, oh, that sounds terrible. I want to learn your way, right? Well, and go ahead and sprawl that leg back, right? And then, you know, if he has whizzer, go ahead and put your whizzer in. And he's sprawling and whizzering me, pushing me down, right? So I don't want that. So the thing is, if I have his pinky toe here, sprawl out. Okay? Build the pass into, on these style that I'm showing, into the sweep as they are falling over. And all these breakovers, for the most part, it's like you make the guy sit down. Like you make him sit down. With the old school sweep, like, when you pull their foot out from under, boom, they sit down, right? When you push somebody over, they sometimes will fall like this, but a lot of times it's going to be collapsing their base, which is their knees, okay? So think about that. You got like the old school style, but I like to use that to pass the foot to my preferred techniques, and that's part of what jiu-jitsu is about, is getting your individual spin on it, okay? And you're arriving there through studying and surveying and drilling these techniques and how they interplay, okay? So with this, you know, if I have here, like I have the head and he tries to pull away, I can get the underhook. Just create that subtle little pullback pressure, okay? Now here, I'm gonna start, from here on out, I'm just gonna be up in dogfight and he has the whizzer, right? But just have your entry point. It's not always going to be as easy as you have in half guard with an underhook, okay? And I like to start at the position before I have the underhook when I'm drilling a lot of this stuff. Okay, so talked about this. This one, it can work. I'm not taking anything away from it, but it can be a challenge if they're a good wrestler or they're just a game opponent. Okay, now, this one is a new one for me. I really like it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach over his head here. Right? And like a wrestler would cut the corner, I'm gonna sweep around in an arc with this leg as I do that, okay? Now look, I have this relationship. Sometimes we do techniques where this might not be exactly where we're at, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take here, okay? Now, you can grab his foot too to ensure that you have a better pass. Again, my theory today is we want to build our pass into knocking them over, into making them sit down. Back in dogfight, and I'll show that one more time. Okay, so he has whizzer. I go here, and this one too, all the other sweeps that we like to do for the most part, you end up on their strong side control. Most people, right? And like I would say 90%. Most people aren't really good on the side I'm about to get Michael in. Right here, grab, there. This is most people's weak side, right? I'm even left-handed, because most people pass guard this way. I'm even left-handed. When somebody gets me here or passes here first, I'm like, because I'm left-handed, but I meet left-handed people that pass this way first. I have several of them over the years. And as soon as I get here, I'm like, maybe I could get him in the other side so I could escape. Like, you know, and look, that's a deficiency in my game or whatever, but most people I know and I do spend time working defense on the offside way more than anything else. But, you know, that's just a deficiency in a lot of people's game is weak side, strong side, right? And it's hard to overcome, okay? Let's get back in dogfight. Okay, he's got the whizzer. Again, we can pull his foot out from under him, sit him down as we're coming up. We can pass that into here. We can get here and go to this, right? We can go over here. That's a good one too, okay? Now another one I like to do is get here, okay? I'll do this from under side control. I do a lot of these same techniques from escaping the side mount position. But go ahead and keep your whizzer in there, Michael. Like the last technique, I went around this way. This one, I'm gonna run around behind him, so boom, right? You saw like probably his posture bow that way a little bit. Look, I'm about to make him sit down. Here. And I'm controlling his hips. If you like to play positions like leg drag off hip control, you've got all that. Okay, so, you know, just some simple breakover options, guys. Like, you need to be able to break people over. I'm gonna show one more. This is very basic, but it's powerful, okay? I remember when I first saw this, I like overlooked it for like years, right? And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this. I'm quoting myself on it in this video, future upload date, but I think it's in the Eddie Bravo book, Mastering Jiu-Jitsu, is when I first noticed it, and I'd had that, that's like one of the first jiu-jitsu books I ever had. Like, man, 13 years ago, something like that. And it's a body lock. Here, okay? So like I was running around him on that single leg I showed, here I'm gonna drive into him like this, boom, right? And I can keep this body lock. Or, as he's falling over, I can release. So it just depends on whether you wanna like have your hands under there and break his ribs like or something, you know? We had an accident like that where our wrestling instructor had set up on your elbow. Wrestlers will be looking for this all the time. Huh? And it's like my wrist bone and his rib. When I do it, you could kind of do a similar idea, make it uncomfortable for him. But I don't like having my hands trapped underneath you, even for that. Maybe I should have wrestled, but they didn't have that when I was in high school, okay? We're in Arkansas. But anyway, so that's that, breakover sweeps. There's a big video we did on rollover sweeps. Those are the big two styles of sweep for me. There are other outliers, but I think that start there, study those two distinct styles, and you've got lots of options to work with, and then start to understand how they interconnect. We'll do video on that at a later date, okay? Thanks for watching.